Joined by the very new Education Secretary, Secretary of State for Education, James Cleverly, Conservative MP for Braintree, joins me live. Welcome to the programme, Mr. Cleverly. Congratulations on your appointment. Can you just reassure us that you're going to last a little longer than your predecessor, I think made it through about 48 hours?
I hope that. Well, if I can make it to the weekend, then I would have overtaken my immediate predecessor. Look, the events of the last couple of days were turbulent and painful, and I'm glad they're behind us. I think I've got a fantastic job. I love it. It's already very, very exciting. There are serious things that we need to do over the summer as we get exam results come out, and university places and primary school admissions and all that kind of stuff. And I've already started speaking to some of the unions. And
I was just going to ask you how, because that seems to me to be a very big issue. I don't want my children to miss any more school, thank you very much, after they missed so much because of closures of COVID. How are you going to make sure that those teachers, those unions get what they need or feel that they need in order to not go on strike?
Well, look, we absolutely recognise that for teachers and the people that have to manage school budgets, this inflation that is sweeping the world is also very much affecting them directly. We're very, very conscious of that. We want to make sure that we have a well-motivated, effective cadre of educators at every level. That's what we're focused on because, of course, that's, as you say, that is absolutely a foundation stone for the education of not just our children, but everyone throughout their lives.
Given the position that the government is in, would you have the mandate to be able to give a 3, 4, 5% pay rise to those experienced teachers?
Well, look, I'm not going to start speculating out loud about what settlement would be, but as I say, we're very, very conscious that the role of teachers. We are reminded, because of the disruption we saw through COVID, we are reminded of just how incredibly important teachers are to society as a whole. They showed an enormous amount of flexibility and agility, adapting to those unprecedented circumstances. We recognise that. We want to make sure that they are motivated to continue delivering for our families.
God forbid we ever be in the position where schools have to close again, but it's worth noting that COVID cases are rising and hospitals are warning. Can you rule out closing schools as Education Secretary because of COVID?
Well, look, we've learnt a huge amount of lessons from for the last couple of years. We've seen how incredibly damaging it was closing schools. Sadly, the impact has been most acute on the people in society who would least want. That is, people.
So we're not going to do this again because Nadeem Zahawi said he wouldn't. As Education Secretary, can you guarantee that too?
Well, as I say, I very much echo what he said. I think that is something that we absolutely wouldn't want to do. I think what we've learnt about the disease is that it is something that can be avoided, and I think it's absolutely right we seek to avoid to do that.
How many elected officials do you have in your department currently?
Well, at the moment, there's myself. Will Quince was appointed last night. I know that the Prime Minister will be making further appointments in the forthcoming days.
How many? Because you've got 2, as you say, you and Will Quince. I think you previously have had 4. How is the department able to function with only half the elected officials present?
Well, as I say, the Prime Minister will be making further appointments. We've had a unique period of disruption. That is now behind us. The Prime Minister has formed a cabinet. He will then go on to fill
with only half your
appointments.
Officials there, elected representatives there, it's not over, is it? You don't have people in the roles, unless you don't need the roles. Do you need a higher education minister in your department?
Tom, as I say, the Prime Minister will be making further appointments today. When there is a reshuffle, whether it is a reshuffle initiated by the Prime Minister or by others, as this one is, there is always a period where people are appointed, and there are always short-term gaps. We recognise how important the education sector is. We've just discussed the importance of that, and I know the Prime Minister will be making further appointments at ministerial level in the forthcoming days.
You mentioned Will Quince. He resigned from the position he's now been reappointed to because he couldn't trust Downing Street. He's obviously now back in the department. What changed?
Well, the Prime Minister announced he was standing down. That changes everything. And it is absolutely right now.
So Downing Street is now more trustworthy. The Prime Minister is inherently more trustworthy now because he said he's going to resign.
The Prime Minister is standing down. The process to find his replacement is already been initiated. The details of that will be announced early next week by the 1922 committee, I have no doubt. And in the meantime, and this is the point that Will made when he accepted his role back at the Department for Education, is that it is a incredibly important role. It's an incredibly important department that he was committed to working on behalf of children and families across the country.
With respect,
that is absolutely
it
right
was important yesterday. It was important a week ago. It is important. But clearly Mr. Quince and others felt that importance was also garnered through the integrity that Downing Street could offer. And the Prime Minister remains in post. That hasn't changed.
I think your assessment of this is so wide of the mark, it's unbelievable. The Prime Minister has said he is standing down. If you don't think that changes everything, then I think your assessment is wrong. The Prime Minister has said he is going, and that then means that he said that as soon as a replacement has been chosen, the timetable of that is defined by the 1922 committee for the parliamentary stage and the Conservative Party for the remaining stages. But everybody recognises it is in our collective interest for that to be done professionally but quickly.
The Chancellor said yesterday, the country deserves a government that is not only stable, but which acts with integrity. Is the government stable, and is Downing Street now acting with more integrity?
Well, as I say, the Prime Minister has said he is standing down when his successor has been appointed. In the meantime, we have to do what is the primary function of government, which is to provide a service for the British people. That's what we are doing, and we'll do that professionally until a new Prime Minister appoints a new team. And as I say, if I and others have the opportunity to continue in role, I personally would be delighted, and I will continue focusing on the people that I should be focusing on up until I'm replaced.
But that imperative for good, careful government was there yesterday too. It's just that 60 members of the government felt that it was impossible to do that because of the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister hasn't gone.
But the Prime Minister has said he is going to stand down. Those people who resigned from government said that they felt the government needed new leadership. That is going to happen. Now that they know that is going to happen, I think that
Why can't that new leadership happen more quickly?
Because we need a process to select a new leader, and that process will happen promptly. It is absolutely right that we go through a process. There is no such thing in our constitution as a caretaker government or a caretaker Prime Minister. So the Prime Minister has said he will stand down when a replacement is found, and that will happen.
So the Prime Minister that people said couldn't be trusted, that didn't act with integrity, that 60 ministers resigned from government because of, is still very much the Prime Minister up until someone else comes in. Your colleague Andrea Leadsom says it is, in my opinion, that Boris Johnson would be better to go now and salvage what is a good track record in some really key major events. Lots of your colleagues believe that the Prime Minister should stand down as Prime Minister today in order for a functioning government to take place. Do you agree?
No.
Because?
For all the reasons I've just said. The Prime Minister has said he is standing down. We have a process to replace him. That process will be prompt but professional, and when a replacement has been found, the Prime Minister will hand over. He's made it clear that he is not going to make any decisions that would tie the hands of his successor, but he has also made it clear that we have to continue providing professional government for the people of this country. Whether it were him or someone else, if someone else were to step in, all they would then do is do what he is currently doing, which is
they would be a different
not making
person.
decisions.
And the whole reason why we are in this position, why you find yourself in your job, arguably, is because of the reaction to the person that is running the country. If you put in a person...
he's going. He said he's going.
But it's not quick enough for some of your colleagues.
Look, it won't be quick enough for some of my colleagues. It won't be quick enough for some people. I get that. I respect that is their view. I disagree.
Thank you very, very much indeed for your time. James Cleverly, your Secretary of State for Education, Conservative MP for Braintree. Interesting listening to what it is that the Education Secretary is going to have to do in that new job, particularly when it comes to the unions and the schools, and whether or not they're going to be able to keep the schools open or keep the teachers out from being on strike. Very important issue. We'll come on to more of your thoughts about Boris Johnson, about his resignation, about how he has handled the last few months, indeed the last few years of his premiership. We'll look back